Sorry about the 2-hour delay on the show here. The previous video that was uploaded on this YouTube channel, the Brock Besser Josh Norris trade idea video, that was actually made like an hour and a half before it was published on YouTube. For some reason, we are getting some glitches with the upload process here on this very cool yet nice Saturday afternoon. Who knows if this video is also going to be delayed by the upload processing holdups, but if it's not, then you'll probably see this video sometime after, let's say, 4 p.m.-ish. Anyways, I just got done watching the New York Rangers and the Boston Bruins, and it's been a really interesting past few hours for Canucks fans. Yes, the Bruins ended up winning. David Pastrnak, as he's been doing for most of 2025, popped off yet again. Hat-trick performance out of him. My guy, Morgan Geekie, scored himself an assist, was a plus multiple, and had himself a whole bunch of points for my fantasy teams. But on the other side, you had a Rangers team that ended up losing 6-3. And 2 out of the 3 goals that New York scored in this game today were scored by JT Miller. He tied the game, made it 1-1 early on in the first period, and then he made it 4-2 early on in the third period. Now here's the thing. This video isn't technically about JT Miller's performance with the Rangers, but it is quite funny that he suits up and he plays and he does well and he scores points, but the team ends up getting blown out either way. I've been seeing some people insinuating that this game and the identity of it, how Miller scored points but the Rangers still lost pretty badly, could be indicative of how the Rangers' time with Miller is just going to go in general, with the quality of the team in terms of how good they are, how capable they are of winning games, and how good Miller is at scoring points. Mind you, he's playing with Mika Zibanejad and Artemi Panarin, so I'd say there's probably a higher likelihood that JT scores more points with the Rangers than he would have in Vancouver. But anyways, I wanted to dive into yet another New York conversation, not with the Rangers, but with the other New York team, the Islanders. Because earlier this morning on the Hockey News, we had ourselves Steven Rosner, who published an interview with former Canucks captain Bo Horvat, and how he was shocked that Miller and Pettersson couldn't work things out in Vancouver. This show is brought to you by ExpressVPN. Go out there and check out the first link in the description if you need a VPN, you want to save some money, you want to get some free months, and you want to support the YouTube channel. But also linked in the description is this article from the Hockey News, where Bo Horvat goes out there and speaks about Miller, about Pettersson, about the trade, and about the dynamic of these players. The Hockey News, who had spoken with Islanders forward and former Canucks captain Bo Horvat previously about the ongoing issues between the two players, caught up with the now alternate captain at Saturday's morning skate. Bo said this about the trade: "I was honestly shocked. I can't believe it had come to that, to be honest with you. It's unfortunate. They had such a great year last year, making it to the second round after being first in the Pacific. It's unfortunate they had to get broken up like that. It sucks that Miller is coming to the Metro. He's a heck of a player, but obviously something had to be done, and they made it happen." Might I remind you that the Vancouver Canucks, in a potentially ill-fated decision 2 years ago, decided that they would rather keep JT over Bo Horvat. They had the option to extend one or both or none, and they decided, hey, we're going to give this money to Miller, we're going to commit these terms and these years to Miller, and Bo, sorry buddy, but you're off to New York. And I think it's been really interesting to follow Bo Horvat's career from 2 years ago up until now, because of course, he made things very sour with the comments that he made after getting traded. Like, I don't even remember the specific words that he said, but he did say something in a post-game interview to the fans in New York about how, like, they were better than Vancouver. It was something like that. I forgot. But Canucks fans were super sour about Bo Horvat afterwards, which rightfully so. I mean, the guy was the heart and soul of the Canucks for a time. He was the captain of the team, and he was one of the better goal scorers on the team. But to see him make those comments immediately afterwards definitely left a bad taste in Canucks fans' mouths. You gotta remember, though, the team chose Miller over him. So for him to go out there and speak about this Miller trade, obviously he's saying that it's really not great that Miller is in the same division as he is now, but he does go out there and give props to both of these guys too. The Canucks had a choice to trade either Pettersson or Miller, which was not an easy choice to say the least, but after their decision, Vancouver is going to need Pettersson to be the guy. Horvat believes that Petey can be. I think he definitely has the potential to be where he was last year and a couple of years ago when I was there. Hopefully he gets back there and has a lot of success. The thing is with Pettersson, he did have the best season of his career with Bo Horvat. You might remember back in 2022-2023, there was a conversation going around with Canucks fans whilst the should they extend Horvat, should they extend Miller stuff was going on. There was already another conversation saying, hey, you've got Petey, you've got Bo, you've got Miller. You can't really play any of these guys as your third-line center, right? That would be very much undermining the value that any of them brings. You didn't have the 649 line as a line anymore. You had Miller and Petey split up. So at that point, a lot of Canucks fans were sort of wondering, okay, yeah, somebody's going to go here because you can't realistically have any one of these dudes on 3C. Bo ended up being the guy in that 22-23 campaign, but you got to remember, Pettersson had 102 points that year, the best season of his career. Last year, Pettersson dipped to 89 points, but Bo is saying that Petey does have what it takes to get back up to speed and maybe become a 100-point guy once again. You would hope that Pettersson's able to do that. He's 26 years old. At the same time, I think the same idea applies that we've been talking about this entire time too. If Miller gets traded, which he was, and Pettersson starts to play well again, what does that say about Elias Pettersson, the character he has, and the development? Is this the kind of guy that can lead a team to a Stanley Cup championship? If his demeanor on the ice is going to be dictated as to who he plays with and what teammates he has, then you kind of have to wonder, is this the kind of attitude or the kind of guy that you want on your team to lead your team at $11.6 million? Obviously, if Pettersson's scoring points, it doesn't matter. He had scored points in the bubble playoffs in 2020, and he also scored points 2 years ago, getting 102. So Bo is all believing of Elias Pettersson, which remains to be seen whether or not it's going to actually pay off. The guy got an assist yesterday against the Dallas Stars, but he also was a -2. Meanwhile, JT Miller, while his team ended up losing today as well, he scored himself 2 goals. So it goes both ways, right? Take a look at some of the other comments that Bo Horvat made. The question is, what has impacted Pettersson from being that impact player now? Bo says, I think a number of things. I think definitely all the noise behind it all. It can't be easy. You're playing in a market like Vancouver. It comes with the territory for sure, but it can't be easy to hear about it every single day. And we're hearing about it every single day. And we're on the opposite side of the country. If we're hearing about it every single day and we're sick of hearing about it, I couldn't imagine. I'm sure they couldn't stand it. So it can't be easy. But again, now that's all behind them. Hopefully they can just go play hockey. And so for Bo Horvat, it's a very diplomatic set of answers that he gives. Hey, Pettersson's good, he can be good, and I think he'll be able to get past this. But at the same time, it does kind of steer your direction a little bit into what Pettersson's psyche is like, because if Bo, the former captain of the team, is going out there and saying, yeah, like, Pettersson's probably having a tough time dealing with this stuff, the media is always on him, that crazy Vancouver market is always buzzing with stuff, even we're hearing about it here in New York, so obviously that's not ideal. I think it does go to show a little bit more of Elias Pettersson's demeanor in respect to the media and in how that affects his on-ice play, that as long as this JT Miller thing dies down, which it's not going to, it will probably continue buzzing for the next few weeks here as we learn more information about stuff that happened with this team and how everything fell apart. But for Elias Pettersson, hey, he said yesterday in the post-game presser, he welcomes the pressure to being that number one guy. He wants to have that responsibility. He wants to step up and he wants to be that player. The question is, though, how far is Pettersson willing to go to do that? We already heard reports about him potentially showing up to training camp, not really looking all too fit and not really keeping up, and how he did extra practices and stuff. There was a lot of conversation and buzz about Pettersson and whether or not he's truly taking that next step. He already declined last year. It's continued into this year. But I hope that as the days go on, Pettersson really does show everybody that those talks about him becoming that 100-point guy, hey, it's not all bravado, it's not all smoke and mirrors. He does have that capability, and he can still do that at 26, 27, 28 years old. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about Elias Pettersson and the entire conversation with him from Bo Horvat's perspective. What are your thoughts on JT Miller scoring 2 goals in his New York Rangers debut? Let me know in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.